Hi, my name is Christian Waldegrave, Market Analyst at Teekay, and I'm here to talk about the offshore market. And I'm going to start by looking at the FPSO sector, which continues to be very hot right now. In the first 5 months of this year, we've seen orders placed for 10 FPSOs. And if you compare that against the long-term average of 15, you can see that there's a lot of activity at the moment. And if we look at the longer-term outlook for FPSOs, a recent report by International Maritime Associates estimates that there's 140 projects around the world at the moment which are looking to use the FPSO as a production solution. And that's double the amount of projects that were looking at FPSOs 5 years ago. And a lot of those FPSOs are in Teekay's core regions, Brazil and the North Sea, as well as regions such as Africa and Southeast Asia as well. So if we think about forward requirement over the next 5 years, the IMA estimates that between 20 and 30 FPSO orders are going to be placed each year for the next 5 years, of which around 20% will be met by redeployments and the remaining 80% by either new or converted units. And of those units remaining, around 60% will be leased and 40% will be owned. So if we're looking at the leased FPSO sector, which is where Teekay operates, we can probably expect around 15 FPSO contracts per year for the next 5 years, which is a very healthy level of activity, especially given there are very few players in the leased FPSO market. Turning to the shuttle sector, demand for shuttle tankers continues to be strong as well, particularly in the North Sea. And what we've seen in the North Sea is that there's been a push into harsher weather regions, especially north into the Barents Sea. And this requires very high specification shuttle tankers, which is an area of Teekay speciality. And we see fields like Statoil's Skrugard field and Eni's Goliath field looking for more high-spec units. And we think that trend's going to continue in the future, that operators are going to continue to look in these harsh weather regions, are going to need very high-spec units to develop those fields. We're also continuing to see high demand in Brazil, and we think there's going to be increasing requirement for shuttle tankers later this year. Some new tenders will emerge later this year. And looking at the long-range prospect for Brazil as well, the number of units which are producing offshore is expected to double by 2018. And so that's really what's going to drive shuttle tanker demand in the region. So we're very positive on Brazil as a growth region for shuttle tankers. And then finally, looking at floating storage and offtake units, or FSOs, the past few years haven't seen very many FSO orders, but we think that's going to change over the next 12 to 18 months. We see a few projects in the North Sea emerging, and also in Southeast Asia as well. So those are the two areas where we might see some FSO requirements emerging in the coming months, and where Teekay will look to try and win some projects. So that's our update on the offshore sector, and we'll talk to you again next quarter.